yet another episode of Yet Another Beer Show. I'm JT.
I'm Steve.
And here we're starting to do a homebrew. It's a special episode of Yet Another Beer Show. We'll be following Steve in his process of making... What type of beer today?
We're going to make a porter.
A porter, okay. So you've actually homebrewed before. We are actually enjoying the fruits of his labor. Nice amber that we'll discuss. Actually, we might have a review of it in another show, but today we're actually going to go through the entire process of seeing what it takes to brew beer in your home. So where are we at right now? We've already started.
So we started by heating water up, and basically in home brewing, what we're doing is taking grain and extracting the sugar out of the grain, and then adding yeast, and that, and hops, and that's what makes beer, right?
Okay.
So you actually don't ever want to boil the grains themselves. So we've heated the water up, we've turned the flame off, and now we're going to add it and let it steep, much like tea, which is...
But you don't get drunk off of tea.
Well, not everybody gets drunk when they drink.
Yeah, well, okay. Well, yeah.
Nothing.
You know what I mean. Sure. So the water right now is at 155?
Just over 155. They say the temperature is usually 158 to 160 and change, and this particular recipe calls for about 155 degrees. So
okay.
We'll add the grains in here.
Now do you add the whole bag of grains all at once?
The whole bag of grains in this situation.
It's funny. It's interesting to see. I thought it would all float on top, but it's just sinking like a rock. And does it absorb it all, or is it a?
It does. It's this grain came cracked from the brew supply store, and so it's already, the shells are basically already open.
Okay.
So we'll give it a good stir. Make sure everything's in there good. So you can see the different grains in there.
So does this mean, do you keep stirring it, or do you just let it sit for?
Stir it, and you actually put the lid back on, and put a dampened or heavy towel on it to give it a little bit of weight and keep it sealed, to help keep all of that heat in. And then it sits for 45 minutes. So we wait. All right, so we have waited for 45 minutes, and
Ooh, it looks like a nice borscht soup or something like that.
I've never seen borscht soup,
Ah.
but it definitely looks like a pot of boiled grains. I like beef and barley soup, except for much darker.
Oh yeah, look at that. Yeah, it's really thick there.
And that, I'm going to be very happy about it. I like a dark and thick beer.
Oh wow, has a very strong smell too. You can smell I mean it smells grainy, but
right, it smells like grain. So
yeah.
At this point, we're going to take this. This is the beginnings of the wort for the beer, and we're going to drain it through this colander, which is a fine mesh colander. This is one I bought specifically for this, which is why it's kind of different than every other colander that you would normally see. But they say you can use just a normal metal stainless steel colander if you're doing this at home. And you can see the grains expanded quite a bit. Something to scrape as many of these grains out as I can. So I want to get, there's still sugar in these grains, which is what the next process is, which is the lautering or sparging process. What we're going to do is get more hot water and use that hot water to rinse more sugar out of the grains. So that's our next step. So we're at 180 degrees. So now we take this hot water and slowly pour it over the grains. And this is the sparging. Gets the last bit of the sugars or just more sugar out of these grains. So at this point we need to add the malt extract.
And this all goes into this pot right here?
That's right. And when you do a full mash, you don't need the malt extract, but doing a full mash is really, really involved. And I kind of equate it to using vanilla extract in cooking. And you actually add this malt extract before you turn the heat back on. And you want it dissolved in. This is a situation where anybody who's made any desserts where you have to put sugar over the stove, you realize very fast that you can't just put plain sugar over the stove because it will scorch the sugar. And this is also a porter, so it should be good and brown, but you can see it definitely has that same consistency as soy sauce. And all that malt extract is still gooey in the bottom there, so I'm going to move this around, stir it in to get it dispersed through the rest of the wort. And so once that's done, maybe I'll pull a little bit and you can taste what it tastes like. Just the sweetness. So you smell it and it smells very grainy.
Yeah. Cheers. This is the wort right out of the home brew that the porter Steve's making here, and we're gonna just try it straight up.
Try it. It's actually not bad at all.
Oh no, not at all. Yeah.
It's sweet. It's got a little bit of the bitter like that you would get out of a grain husk.
Yeah.
But as far as the flavor goes, it's
I mean,
sweet.
it tastes like a sweet tea, sort of like a. I mean, not sweet tea is like Southern style, but like a tea that you actually might brew. I mean, which is what we've been doing here for the past 2 hours. I mean, the smell you smell it, and you're like, oh, this is gonna taste funny, but it's actually really incredible to try.
Right. So our next step is.
I'm not gonna die because of this, right?
No.
So we're warming up the wort and.
We're going to bring this to a boil.
Okay.
And then we're going to add the hops.
Oh, okay. So this is like we're adding more ingredients. Okay.
Right. And this is the point where the hops actually add the bitterness to the beer, and it adds also an additional flavor. I put my hops in here. And they actually come in little small
vacuum sealed.
I bought them in pellets. You can buy them whole leaf. You can buy whole hops.
Okay.
Or buy them in these dried pucks as well. But this is what the brew supply shop that I go to carries, and these are both 2 bags of Kent Goldings. Once you get this wort boiling, we're going to boil it for 60 minutes. In one bag we're going to add at 60 minutes, and then the other bag we're going to add at 30 minutes. And so it supplies different levels of bitterness.
Okay.
Because as you cook the chemicals that create that bitter flavor, it changes a little bit. So it gives 2 different levels of bitterness.
Okay.
So now we wait.
And now we play the waiting game.
That's right.
Colin had been drinking.
Oh, I know.
Oh yeah.